testimony of a Brazilian from Minas Gerais. My name is Helio dos Anjos, and I am going to talk about my experience that I had when I was in the underworld of the sorcery. I am the ancient magician of darkness. I started practicing witchcraft when I went to visit a witch and admiring her. I started my life in witchcraft. The life of this witch who was dedicated to magic and was disciplined made me like witchcraft. This witch did encourage me to be a sorcerer, for her life influenced me, and that goes for the believers. You who live sanctifying and doing God's work, you are being watched. People will accept Jesus for you. First Life Testimony of Peter 2 verse 12, Philippians 1 verse 27. These verses say that by giving good testimonies of a holy life, the wicked glorify God and may even convert. I converted to witchcraft because of an exemplary witch, and today there are believers who do not give good testimonies of life, and nobody wants them as an example of life. People look at the false prophets who are famous and wants to follow these men who are examples of a life of greed for riches and lovers of money. If I live an exemplary life, I can tell you someone who imitates me, he will have as a reference of a servant of God an example of holiness to follow. As believers we are surrounded by witnesses who observe our lives. Most witnesses are accusers, and when we live a life just before God, the accusers will find no sin in us. Some will accept Jesus and others will follow in our footsteps. It is no use preaching the doctrine of holiness and denouncing sin if you do not give a good testimony at home and at work. Your sinful lifestyle can scandalize the gospel. What's the use? Or preaching that Jesus sets you free if you're trapped in sin? What is the use of saying that the word transforms if you still live the old man, dressing like the wicked, speaking profanity and immorality? He is saying that he is a believer and behaves like an impious people of the world. If he does not, they seek transformation in their lives, they will not believe the word. When I was a magician, how many times did I stop believing in the Bible for not seeing change in the lives of believers who preached the word? They preached the word at night in church, but during the day they did not behave like men of God. They were single believers dating one woman and other having 23 women, scandalizing their preaching ministries. I did not believe in the Bible and delayed my conversion because of these scandals. The witnesses who observe our life are the people of your street, of your neighborhood, of your work and church, and there are also witnesses who are sorcerers and witches sometimes you don't even know. If you're a true believer, witches are bound to watch over the life of each believer to know whether or not he is of the light. Just like demons of the witchcraft order attack believers with spells, witches and wizards are the ones who observe the lives of the believers, and if you find sin, that's where to attack. A witch in sorcery, he learns to exploit people's weaknesses. Among those who observe the lives of believers there are earthly witnesses and there are spiritual witnesses. That are millions of them, much more than earthly witnesses. There are millions of evil spirits in this moment watching your steps, while there are millions of spiritual witnesses watching you. Hebrews 12 verse 1. If humans are capable of launching accusations, I can tell you the demons are 1,000 times worse at making accusations. I will tell my testimony and how I became the Dark Wizard. I started by buying black magic books and doing the rituals in my backyard. My wife was Catholic and she did not accept my situations. That's when she separated from me. She went back to live with her mother. I continued practicing rituals. If she didn't want to marry me because she knew that anyone would be afraid to see the slaughter of black cats and black chickens in his backyards. At first I did not feel any evil presence, but over the months I began to feel strange presences, as if someone was close to me watching me. On one occasion I felt a wind blowing on me and I felt a chill. Although it was hot that day and there was no wind, a strong wind blew into my house and knocked things over. The pans on the stove and cupboard went flying and the cupboard and door slammed non-stop. These were the first manifestations of the supernatural that I witnessed. The communication was through objects in motion, and when the candle lit itself without a match in supernatural way, I started hearing the voices of the demons that spoke in my ears, but they did manifest yet. Little by little I entered in contact with the supernatural until my spiritual eyes opened, and I began to see demons. I who thought that these spirits had forms of people, I was wrong. When I saw the first demon with the face of a frog and 2 holes instead of eyes, I ran to the street to escape his frightful presence. It was very difficult for me to get used to their appearances. These demons lost their angelic images when they rebelled against God. I don't know why they wore these horrible appearances. I do not know if it was God himself who took the angelic image away from them or if they themselves took off the holy image of angels. What I do know is that they monitor us, for we have the image of God and they hate God's image. These demons may have lost angelic image and replaced it with their newly created images. I also believe that God could have taken away the sacred image of the angels, for when I was a magician looking at myself in the mirror I saw the image of a monster. I was scared, and I asked people if they had seen something weird on my face, and everyone said that it was normal and that my appearance had nothing wrong. My face was normal. But the face of my soul was deformed. What I saw in the mirror was not my carnal face but my deformed spirit. When a person gets involved with black magic and goes deeper into sorcery, his heart grows dark and hardens and his mind only thinks of doing evil and destroy lives. What I saw was the reflection of my evil soul in the mirror. The monster I saw was my inner self. I believe that when a person gets into witchcraft or attached to any sin, his spirit becomes like monster. If the sin persists, the person gradually becomes bad and sin corrupt him, taking away the image and his likeness of God. That was what happened to the fallen angels. Their sins took the image and likeness of their Creator away, turning them into these monstrous beings. Sin makes you a monster not because of your physical appearance but in your spirit, removing the image of God that is in the soul of the person. When I saw the first evil being, I wanted to leave witchcraft. That's when 2 demons caught me and beat me up seriously. I thought the spirits couldn't touch physical people but they can only make objects float or throw objects at people. I thought I could not touch them because they are spirits. I took a lot of hits from the demons. They picked me up and threw me to the ground. I got so angry that I tried to react. I could see them but I couldn't touch them. I threw a lot of punches and kicks at them to defend myself, but it went beyond their transparent bodies. One of these demons that beat me said, "You believe that only in hell that we torture people. We manage to torture people on earth, especially those who work for us. We can do with you what we want if you forget that you work for us and are our servant. If you try one more time to get out of the wizardry, we will squeeze your heart until you have a heart attack. We will burst the veins that connect your heart, and yet we will tear your soul from this filthy body and carry it to hell. And you will be tortured for treason. You still want to leave our way?" I answered them I would not leave you, and with my whole body aching I felt as if I had broken every bone in my body, and I went to the hospital for examination, and the doctor said you have a broken rib and a dislocated shoulder. He asked me how was the accident. I had to lie, saying that I fell from the bicycle. When I returned home I began to serve the demons with fear, not with my will but by force, and not in a good way. I went to talk to a witch and he told me, "You must have control over demons." There was a very strong spell to hypnotize them. I asked the witch to teach me but she said she didn't know. I asked her if she knew of any wizards or witches who could teach me how to control demons. The witch said that in Brazil there was no one with this ability, but in Africa you would find those who have this ability. I told the witch I was willing to pay a very high amount of money to learn this spell. I bought my ticket and went to Angola, where I met an old man named Jose Casina. This old man was a highly respected sorcerer in the village and he had a great experience in magic. My trip to Angola was in 1995. When I arrived in Angola I told him, "Old man, I wanted to control the spirits so as not to fall in their hand. I will offer a large amount of money that I had accumulated in savings through my work and my clients." This old man did not want my money and said that the price was too expensive. No amount of money in the world would buy what I came for. I was left without hope. That's when the old man told me that I can exchange my soul for what I came for. When I agreed to sell my soul for power, at that moment a terrible demon possessed the fragile body of the old man, and left him with a lot of energy. The old man who walked with a stick looked like a teenager and jumped without that stick. I looked at his face and I saw that his eyes widened and went blanked, and 2 of his teeth grew. His 2 canine teeth turned vampire-like. The old man bit my wrist and the blood flowed into the bowl for the pact, to give me the ability to control demons. In return my soul did not belong to me anymore. Now I belong to Satan, and the old man drank some of my blood with those huge teeth. He told me, Now I will pass the wicked anointing." As a result, my body received a very strong entity that gave thirst for blood. I bit the old man's wrist and drank his blood. Then I returned to my normality. The old man said that my teeth had turned vampire-like. I did not see that happen, for when I received this entity I lost the knowledge and did not remember anything. The old man said that he and I had a blood pact because we drank each other's blood. Because of this blood pact, all his gifts would pass to me when he died, and I would continue his work on earth when God would take his soul to heaven. The old man told me that the angel Gabriel appeared to him and told him that he would take his soul with him. When I spent a month in the house of this old man, I was already in power with the gift of clairvoyance. I saw a being in white that appeared to the old man, and the two of them were talking, and that angel patted the head of that old man until he fell asleep. And when the old man passed out, the angel who said it was Gabriel, his wings turned black, acquiring that grey color, and the brightness of his body disappeared. I saw dark smoke come out of the angel, and when Gabriel realized that even lying on the bed I could see him, he looked at me and I saw two vampire-like teeth come out of the angel mouth. He pointed his index finger at me to address me. He said, "If you tell that old man what you saw, I will kill you." And that angel turned into dark smoke and disappeared. 2 Corinthians 11 verse 14 to 15. Millions of demons have this ability to camouflage or assume the appearance of other angels and people. The old man did not see what I saw. This evil being pretended to be the angel Gabriel. The old man did not see the transformation of that demon. The poor old man was being tricked by the spirit he trusted the most. I want to say that these spirits are not our friends. They are deceiving spirit. The greatest proof that they are cheating is when you die they will drag your souls to hell, and when you are trapped in torment you will remember that you were deceived by them. When I was threatened by that demon that camouflaged himself as the angel Gabriel, I was afraid to tell the old wizard. The next day I asked the old man if after the blood pact I could control the demons of Brazil. The old man told me, "Look back." When I looked I saw many demons that I had never seen in Brazil. He said, "These demons will accompany you to Brazil. The mission of these demons is to continue working in partnership with me until I die. You could control the devils in Brazil through these devils. If any devil in Brazil attack you, these Angolan demons would arrest and torment them. These demons will be my protectors who would protect mine even from the people who want to harm me. If you break the pact of witchcraft, those same demons will kill you." I was very excited about everything that was happening. I told the old wizard that I wanted to make a pact with Lucifer himself and that he would be the mediator in that pact. I did not feel worthy and wanted a mediator, for he was on a much more advanced spiritual level than me. The old man looked at me and told me, "You have to go slowly. It's one step at a time. You are starting and you already want to be at a very high spiritual level. I took more than 20 years to reach that level. I understand your thirst for the supernatural, but you have to respect your initiation timing." I replied to the old man, "I don't want to grow up quickly in magic. I want to make a pact with Satan, who commands all evil spirits to have more security." The old man looked at me and said, "You can invoke Satan, but it is not easy to reach him. There is a hierarchy of evil spirits to get to him." The old man said, "Young man, you know that although I am a sorcerer, I do not like to make deals with evil spirits. They are unreliable. To do a deal with fallen angels can have a high price. I can lose my soul in wanting to get closer to Lucifer because he is the highest authority among fallen angels. These spirits can charge a high price for bringing their boss to a mortal man. I work and make a pact with the celestials, angels of Jesus. Every ritual I do, I invoke Michael, Raphael, Ariel and other angels of God. I have an alliance with the angel Gabriel, who visits me every day. Gabriel told me that God accepts animal sacrifices like in the Old Testament, and that God did not abolish the Mosaic law and we can sacrifice animals to him. It was the angel Gabriel who anointed me as a priest of God. I am the one who will continue the lineage of Aaron. The angel Gabriel has protected me, and you want me to make an alliance with fallen angel? I replied to the old man, "Who was that entity that entered his body and drank my blood?" The old man answered me, "It is a spirit of the pact that works for the angel Gabriel. You asked not to be beaten by the demons of Brazil because these demons aggressor are from Lucifer. The demon that I summoned to do the pact with you is not from Lucifer, and all these work for Gabriel. Evil spirits that will go to Brazil to protect you work for Gabriel. I told the old witch, I want a pact with Lucifer, not with Gabriel. The old was struck by fallen angel. Finally he agreed to be the mediator and said, I will not be responsible for your life, and after this pact you will not be the same, your life will be full of tribulations. And the old man climbed a hill and said that I couldn't go up. If I got close to the hill they would shoot down. I will be the mediator of the alliance between Satan and me. What I saw was an imitation of when Moses, being the mediator between the people and God, he went up the mountain and received revelation from God and wrote the commandments of the Lord. The old magician was also receiving a revelation and wrote a lot of things I should do with this ring. The old man climbed the mountain to the midnight and he stayed until 3 a.m. connecting with various spirits until reaching Lucifer. The old man took 7 days to climb, telling not to approach the mountain. I could see the mountain burning red and the fire coming out of the ground and going up. That mountain looked like a volcano, but it was spiritual because the fire did not burn the vegetation of the mount like the burning bush that was not consumed. Anyone who doesn't believe in hell, if he had seen what I saw he would believe it. The fire rose from under the ground to the mound and left it red. The cloud and the pillar of fire that carries the people of Israel happened in the ritual of the old magician. A grey cloud descended to the mount. That cloud was loaded with demons of the air. The old wizard's face changed like that of Moses, then the transfiguration of his face and became the face of a monster and his eyes seemed dark. This happened during the 6 days. I want to tell all believers who like to climb the mountain to pray and prepare before climbing. These places are charged with dark powers. The spirit imitates God and also leads slaves to the mountain, and there are many hills that are consecrated to demons. And you who live a life of sin, if you climb a consecrated hill your life will not move forward. A believer who has not renounced the world and lives in sin, his life is full of spiritual opening and doorway for demons to enter. Climbing the mountain to pray is an affront to the demons that consecrated the place. These spirits will attack you, and if you are not dressed in holiness you will suffer. Nobody says why many believers go up the mountain and get sick and others die of illness thinking it's natural death or God's. Nobody will tell you that these believers were attacked by demons and for not being prepared and died. What I'm talking about is something serious that no one reveals. At the beginning of my conversion my late pastor did not allow me to go up the mountain with him. That was protection on his part. This pastor lived a holy and disciplined life so as not to sin. The shepherd went up to the mountain where there happened many offerings of Macumba and cried, rebuking the offerings so as not to harm anyone. The pastor took many names that were written on the papers of offering to nullify the effect of the spells. The furious demons tried to kill him, but they did not find legality and opened door. No disease took him. All the brothers who went up the mountain were sick. The shepherd was not sick. The demons couldn't touch him. So he used his wife to argue with the pastor and his children to disrespect him. The demons used the employees of his company to accuse him, and they used his neighbors to humiliate him, because the demons could not attack him even by throwing their darts. First, the pastor was a holy man. He lived praying and fasting, but even following all these things that doesn't mean he was untouchable. I've seen men of God defeated in spiritual battles. It depends on the type of demon you face. Former pastor was facing lower-level demons on the mount. The only certainty I have is that these demons cannot kill those who live in the world for not having strength, but the believers who are in darkness do not belong to God, but they are souls of Satan. He can do whatever he wants with them. I will continue my pact on Mount. The old man who was my mediator finished the ritual on the 7th day, completing the pact. When I looked at him I saw his bodily transfiguration. I think the transformation was spiritual. He floated over the mount, then he returned to his normal appearance after the ritual. I was completed. The wizard called me to the mound and the old man said that Lucifer would use his body to talk to me, and that was what happened. Lucifer incorporated and spoke to me, making an alliance, and the old man possessed by Lucifer told me to kneel before your God. I knelt and the old wizard put his hand on my head and said, if I am baptized and sealed by the Holy Spirit, I began to speak in tongues, and the old man incorporated into Lucifer said, I am anointed and will be called the magician of the darkness, who will defeat the angels of the Messiah, my greatest enemy. After that day I felt more confident and a very strong magician.